Yay, I'm excited for this one. So, hello and welcome to Intuitive Connection. I'm your host, intuitive counselor, and spiritual guide, Victoria Shaw. And I'm in front of the microphone today to talk about a topic that is sort of loved in the new agey world for sure, but one that we've never talked about on the show before. And in honor of the fact that this episode is going to go live on 11/11/2025, whenever you are listening to it, this is when it actually went live. I thought it would be a really fun time to talk about angel numbers. And 11/11 is one of the probably most popular and well-known angel numbers. So that is our topic for today. I'm going to talk about angel numbers. I'm going to share a little bit about their history and background. And then I'm going to turn it over to the guides and see what they have to say. So I'm really excited about this. And, I've heard from a lot of people when they first kind of open themselves up to this world of spirituality and spirit guides and intuition. One of the first things that they notice is that they start seeing these repeated numbers everywhere, like on the clock or, on their phone or on their computer or just kind of on a license plate, just kind of noticing these sequences of repeating numbers like 111, 22, 1010, 1212, 333, the whole nine yards. And personally, I'd never actually even heard of angel numbers until I want to say about 2019. Right when I started this podcast, actually, I had a social media manager who was kind of intuitively oriented, which is why the company that I was working with put us together. She was really into these coincidences that would keep happening, that every time we were on the phone, she'd be like, oh my God, Victoria, it's 11:11. Oh my God, Victoria, it's 4:44. Oh my God, it's 5:55. And I'd be like, okay. And because I never heard of them. And lo and behold, I figured it out, or she told me that, these repeating numbers were signs from the angels, that all is well. And that, this was like a divine connection that we were having. So, I kind of took it under consideration. I didn't think of it much, but I'm being prompted to remember, but these numbers are really inherently fun. And I actually remember, now that I'm thinking about it, when I was 11 years old, lying in my bed every night and trying to catch the clock. Back then, these were digital clocks. If any of you are old enough to remember those. And they would flip. It was like the early digital clock. And it would even make this little flipping sound as the numbers flipped. It wasn't digital the way we understand digital now. It was a mechanical digital clock. But anyway, and I would wait for the little things to turn, and it would say on the clock 11:11. And that would be a very sacred moment to me. So I guess I was into angel numbers when I was 11, even though I didn't know what they were called, but I would wait every single night for that clock to say 11:11, when I probably should have been asleep. But anyhow, so I didn't think about these things much between being 11 and being 40 something very high when in 2019, or maybe, no, I was 50 in 2019, 51. But anyway, I didn't think about any of this very much in between, but my dear sweet Alana, my social media manager at the time, was the one who first turned me on to these numbers. And a little bit of Google searching has told me that the actual idea of angel numbers originated from Doreen Virtue, who was a very well-known Hay House kind of teacher. She also was big on spirit guides and angels. And I actually even read a couple of her books when I was first starting this journey. And that she came up with the term angel numbers, which she said kind of derived from the early numerology, like Pythagoras, and the origins of numerology and how these numbers had special meanings and helped you connect with the angelic realm. So that's where that term got started. Now, Doreen Virtue, if you know her story, came from a very fundamentalist Christian background, then went all New Age, and then now she's gone back to fundamentalist Christian and has denounced all of her work. So but she has left a lasting legacy. And I think one of the biggest things that she's left behind is this idea of these magical numbers. So today is 11/11, and let's talk about it. So, my guides say, first and foremost, that anything that you think is a sign that brings you joy, that lights you up, that makes you feel like you are connected to the universe and your guides and your angels and your higher self, that reminds you that all is well and that you are love and light and beautiful and all that good stuff, any of that stuff. And they are like belly laughing at me right now for my embellishments on what they were saying. Literally, if I am seeing them correctly. But I believe the point they were trying to make is if you think it's a sign, it is, and go with it and enjoy it because this is all a great cooperation between you and your higher self in the universe. And, all the goodness is trying to reach you however you can receive it. And if that is through angel numbers and seeing these coincidences and seeing these beautiful numbers, then you go for it. And remember, too, that our guides are always looking for ways to reach us that we can understand them and receive them. So, again, if you have a belief that repeating numbers is a sign that your guides are with you, or your loved ones are with you, or that you are aligned with the path that you're on, or good things are going to happen, so pay attention, or whatever those signs mean to you, right? Then that's a little permission slip for your guides, for the universe, and even for you, your own human self, to use those signs as an opportunity to connect. Okay. So, again, if you believe it, if it resonates with you, always, always, always go for it, especially if it makes you feel good. And angel numbers often make us feel really good. They make us feel tapped in, they make us feel supported. And what we focus on grows too. So once you start seeing them, you're probably going to see them more and more and more because you believe it's possible and it's fun. And so you'll keep attracting that beautiful verification in, and that's a magical thing. The guides are also saying that sometimes these signs can have specific messages for us, right? And so certain numbers are historically meant to mean different things, right? There's a whole science, or if you want to call it a science, but a whole structural spiritual understanding of numerology that does go all the way back to, the ancients. These angel numbers are loosely rooted in that, and different numbers have different energies and different associations. And so, again, if you're interested in finding out more about what that is, go for it. And then that will kind of deepen your connection with these numbers. But it's also fine to do what I often do, which is if I'm drawn to a number at a certain time, I Google it and then I see what comes up and I see if that resonates with me. So I don't know if I've shared the story on the show before, but one of the most interesting experiences I had, and I wish I remember the specifics and I don't, but I remember one day I had like a very specific question that I was sort of mulling over in my head and kind of threw up to my guides. And then, maybe I forgot about it for a hot minute, or maybe I was, overcooking it in my sweet little head. And I was like cleaning my kitchen and I look over on my rice cooker, which I guess was plugged in, but it wasn't on. And the number on the rice cooker was 5555. And so I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. I haven't always, but I've learned over the years, especially recently, when my attention is drawn to something, be it an animal or a page in a book or, something in the horizon or whatever. When I find my energy just naturally drawn to something, I pay attention because I know that that's how my intuition and my guides get my attention. And this was one of those moments, like all of a sudden I just noticed it, you know, I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't looking for it, but my eyes went there and I said, like, this doesn't feel like a coincidence. I'm going to Google this and see what this means. And when I Googled 555, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the context because it was a couple of years ago, but it blew my mind. The first thing that came up was a spot on answer to my request. Okay. And so it can really work this way. Right. And then certain numbers have personal significance to us. For example, for whatever reasons, I've always had a love affair with the number 7. It's been my favorite number, at least since I was 7 years old. I cried so hard when I turned 8. And it's true. I really didn't want to be 8. I don't know why, but that was a hard one. And I just love the number 7. And not so long ago, a couple years ago, I discovered on my driveway, and I'll try to post a picture of this on the socials, a rock with a perfect number 7 on it. And it was so cool. And I have it in my house. And I was feeling into what that meant. I actually asked one of my mentors, and she was like, I'm getting that it's a sign that everything is coming together for you. Everything in your life, all the things that you want, they're coming together. And I was like, okay, I like that. And so 7 has become my sign for that. Whenever I see a 7, it's like a affirmation, right? Or a reaffirmation that things are coming together. And since 7's also my favorite number, it's just lucky me. So numbers can have significance personally for us as well. When you're working with angel numbers, I think it's important, like with all kinds of signs, keep it loose. Keep it loose. You want to ask not what it means objectively so much, but what does it mean to me? Right? Notice what was happening when you saw the number. Sometimes, again, it's just, a little nod from the universe and, from yourself that you're in alignment, or just that you're loved, or that everything's going to be okay. Right. And sometimes, like with my rice cooker, there's a specific message. So if your attention is drawn to something and it sticks there, look it up, see what it means, feel into it. But even when you are looking, on Google or your favorite book, or talking to your numerologist, or whatever you're doing to uncover the magic of these repeating numbers, or whatever numbers speak to you, because they don't even have to be repeating. It's an important to always vet that with your own intuition. Feel into it, right? See if it lands, see if it resonates. And if it doesn't, don't try to figure it out. Just let it go. And I promise you, your answer will come. It'll come. It always does. It'll come from another form. The universe is always communicating with us. And so sometimes it just takes a couple of tries before we can feel in and really get the memo. All right. So I'm going to take this last couple seconds of this episode to kind of anticipate. I'm going to tune into the guides, but I'm also going to anticipate any questions you all have about angel numbers and working with numbers. And I hear somebody asking, like, is there ever a downside? Are there any bad angel numbers? And, my answer to that question would be no. I know there's some biblical stuff around the repeating 6 sequence. I don't know what it means, but I know that we never see that one. So again, but even that, it's what it means to you and the associations that you have with it. And we live in a universe that is actually completely safe. And it is only our human confusions and illusions that make it seem as if it is not so. Right. And so please use all these magical signs and things in the universe as a reaffirmation of how safe you are, how lovable you are, how trusted you are, how trustworthy you are, how safe you are, if I didn't say that one yet. Right. Because that is ultimately the truth. So please don't use these in service of fear. They're always good signs. And even if a sign is getting your attention about, maybe you don't want to do that, or maybe you want to change your path. And I've never heard any of that said about any of the repeating numbers. Everything I've ever Googled or looked up or felt into is always super positive and encouraging. But even if a sign is not, right, it's not meant to frighten you. Right. It's just meant to nudge you or guide you, or say, get you to look at things a little bit more deeply, or a little more clearly, or a little more lovingly. Right. But it's never meant to frighten you. Right. And we shouldn't go there with that. Sometimes we do use signs as this kind of wishful thinking, right? Like, oh my gosh, I saw 11:11 and 12:12 and 13. Well, hopefully you didn't see 13:13, because that's not a number we can have on the regular clock. Although you can have that if you're in a European country. I just thought about that, right? But here in the United States, we only go to 12. But anyway, and I love the number 13 too, even though that one has some funky associations. I consider that one very lucky and very beautiful. We're always being guided, and we're always aligned, and we're always supported. But sometimes, of course, we can use these things as magical thinking, right? And we can use these things to gloss over maybe a hesitation that we have, or, and so we have to listen on multiple levels. And signs are just one of those levels, right? And so for me, when the signs line up, like the other day, I had this crazy sign with dolphins that like blew my mind. It just was crazy. And so when they really line up, right? When you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. I would totally go with that. Right. But these smaller signs like angel numbers or things like that are just coming into your life, suffice it to say, at the minimum, they are signs that you are loved, that you are supported, that you are connected, and that all is well, right? They're often too a sign that this is a fortuitous conversation or that, you're in alignment with what you want or whatever you were thinking about when you saw the repeating number. So they can be signs like that too. Okay, for sure. So pay attention to that. But we get into magical thinking with signs and with these numbers when we use them as an excuse to ignore what we're really feeling, what our intuition is telling us, some internal hesitancy, right? And that's where we can sometimes mistake intuition, right, for something, where we can mistake something else for our intuition and our inner knowing. So again, if you're seeing these numbers but you're still feeling hesitant inside, right? Just make sure that everything lines up as you're making a decision or you're planning to move forward. But those signs are always showing you. They're always showing you that you're loved, that all is well, that the path is available to you. And just play, just have fun. Everything in this universe is here, and especially in this human world, is here for your pleasure, for your enjoyment. And I think angel numbers are really one of the funnest ways to co-create and play in this beautiful human world. So if they speak to you, enjoy them. And if you want, you can send me or go over to the Facebook group, Intuitive Connection Community, and share there. Share with me your story, your own stories about angel numbers, because I have a feeling that there are some things that I haven't covered here that have happened to some of you that are really, really exciting. So enjoy this day if you're watching this on 11/11, or if it's 11/11 when you download this episode, or whatever angel numbers are happening for you. Know again that you're always loved, you're always supported, you're always safe, all is well, and that the universe is always working with you to support you and guide you and lead you on your best, most enjoyable, most aligned, and purposeful life. So that's all I got. This was really fun. I hope you liked it too. If you did, like, subscribe, share, do the stuff. And know I love each and every one of you. Have so much gratitude, and enjoy the rest of your day, and namaste.